Welcome back to United Gamers Authority. I'm Shadehunter, and today we're going to be doing a lot, so we're just going to cut to the chase. We have been busy gathering materials. The ship that we went over and got up here, it is effectively gone, but we cannot carry the rest of it. We need to bring in the hover miner to be able to go and gather it all. In the meantime, we have been hitting up rocks and boulders and all kinds of things, just trying to get some material. We have managed to... Let me see if I can get back into first person here. We have managed to gather a bit of material. This should be enough, minus the carbon substrate. We're going to need a lot more carbon substrate to be able to bring in the miner that we did on the live stream. And I've got it right here. I have even gone ahead and unlocked the various things that I needed so that I can go ahead and just add this to my factory. So this is what we're going to focus on, is bringing in the miner, maybe making some upgrades on it, and then using it to scout the planet and go looting and mining a bunch of things. The first thing we're going to do with it is actually go up here and mine out the silicon, copper, and iron in this beginning zone, and maybe up here hit that graphite. But the big thing that we're going to need it for is to run all the way over here, because we did circumvent the entire planet here, and we found Elder's Tomb. We want to go clear that. The spiders that are in there will give us meat and animal teeth and parts and stuff. And then also the looting of it will give us quite a bit of things. So let's see how far we get from the things that we've gotten here after we give you a little bit of a rundown of what we've done. We have, I can't remember if this constructor was here, but this is a large constructor that we threw in here to help us out. A lot of our power is actually coming from solar. Our battery is actually at 862 right now. We will be expanding that more once we expand the base. We are not going to be bringing in that other base through the factory. We are just going to be building on to what we have here. We have a food processor that processes just mediary things that needs to be made in order to make other things. Then we have the food processor and the medical processor. And I'm going to go ahead and eat one of those burgers that Phantom has so kindly made for me.
Yeah.
It is a little bit dark, so I will have my helmet on and my light up. We also added in these container controllers, which we will be expanding even more, but right now they're at 32,000. We will be expanding them into the basement that we have made for power. We might be moving construction down here, but I doubt it. May probably just end up being storage. But this is where we're going to be putting our power. And we have dug out a lot. And the sad thing is 99.9% of it was all dirt, so we got 0 stone. It was quite
a bit disappointing.
Yeah. Back here near the water, all these spots that have the plastic blocks are going to be filled with the farm plots. And then we're going to be putting a large roof on this, probably 2 levels. We're going to have this level, which is going to be the farm and main crafting that we do, and then we'll probably make another level that has our rooms in it. We will probably end up going this direction, digging out and making a landing pad and parking area for the vehicles that we have. The solar panels are going to basically being moved up and out so that they are essentially on the outside of the base. But that's it. I mean, it's required a lot of digging and monotonous stuff. That's why I did not show it. There are these holes here that are going to have these containers here. This is so that if we're out running around, we can easily just drop off stuff that is not important. There's 16,000. They can hold a bit of stuff. And if we have 4 of them, we can just have them a place where we can just drop stuff off. So let's get started on the hover vehicle. The way we're going to be doing this is we're just going to be playing the game. So this is the only really intro we're going to have. And we're just going to keep playing. And we'll have the normal UGA intro and outro of the different videos. But we're going to be recording for quite some time. Or multiple weeks of videos. So we need lots of carbon substrate. I mean, like 2,500 of carbon substrate. That's crazy. And in order to make carbon substrate, we need. If I can actually access anything here, why am I not able to access? What the hell?
Because I was in there.
In the small one or the big one?
I was in the small one.
When I tried to go into the big one, it said that you were in the big one.
You probably tried to get into it just as I was exiting that and moving to the small one.
Probably.
Sorry.
So the carbon substrate is plant fiber and stone dust. Plant fiber is not a huge issue because if we absolutely have to, we can come over here and grab a lot of the plant fiber that we picked up when we were going around the planet and use it. But that still does not make very much. So we're going to need to cut a lot of trees and bust up a lot of stone. So now we probably could have had all of it if we hadn't been making everything out of concrete blocks, but you know, it is what it is. Let's see here. So in order for me to do this, I'm not gonna be able to carry a lot of these, so we're gonna go ahead and grab these steel blocks and put them down there, put the furnishings down there. I'm just gonna grab all of this stuff. Concrete's not gonna help. Carbon blocks will help. Yeah, those steel blocks might help. I'm just going to grab all of this stuff that's in our output box that we've got in here. And then with that there, accessible at the bottom of the screen, you click on the factory and it's still there. So let's see what one steel block is going to do. Okay, one steel block gives 8 ingots. So we're going to finish off a lot of this pretty quick. There's 280 of the carbon. Yeah, it's mainly just... Oh, there's some silicon. And, yeah, it's... We are going to need some titanium, but I think we have that. In here. Yeah, we have the 30 titanium. Easy. These are plates, so I don't know if they actually equal 1-to-1. I don't think they do. So we... Really? Why are you doing this? Okay, I put it there, put it here, then I switch over to this. There we go. The bar wasn't staying at the bottom. Okay, so 2 equals 1, so I'll need 60. Well, now 59. 2. Why did I do that? There's 40. That gives us me 21 total. Oh, 2 over, but that's fine. We're good on titanium now. Cobalt ingot. That's going to be kind of tricky, actually, because I don't think we have anything that's got cobalt, do we? Oh, no, we have cobalt right there. And these are actually cobalt alloys, so... This was from taking apart that ship over there. There we go. That's done. So the expensive things are done. And in order to get these to lower the time, we need to put complex items in here. So we've got a couple of options that we can do. I can use these electronics and components and stuff, or what I can do is I can use this large constructor and tell it to make me a large constructor, because that's going to be a lot of things put together into one item, and that should lower the time by quite a bit. So we're going to let this craft, and I want to grab this cargo box and go ahead and place it out here next to the other one. Actually, I'll probably just end up putting it on the other side. Yeah, our number one priority is to get this miner going, because that's going to help us a lot. And then first and foremost, after we get that miner, we're going to have to go find Promethium, because fuel. And I have no idea where to begin.
A lot of exploration.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a very large planet, and I did not put my Discord on streamer mode, so it beeped at. All right, let's see here. So we will be... Oh, no, it's about done. Okay, I was going to let that finish. But,
are there any other parts you want to have made?
probably anything complex. Alright, so large constructor. We are at 3150, and if I drop this in there, it drops it to 2923. And it increased, looks like it increased iron, copper, silicon, maybe carbon.
It's going to increase all the things that were required in order to make it.
Right. So can you actually go ahead and queue up 5 of the large constructors, since it's lowering the time by a few minutes apiece? So I think that's the most complicated thing that we have that we can make.
I think so. Other than maybe engines, generator, but that's probably about as good as anything.
Well, I'll have the small one over here switch to the output box, and then I'll have it make a couple of medium engines, and we'll see where that gets us. While we make a few things, we will be right back. Alright, so this thing still has not finished making those constructors, and this guy over here has finished his little motors. So we're going to see how much these, well, not motors, thrusters. We're going to see what the thrusters do versus the large constructor. Oh, I have to go to it from inside inventory. Okay, so one thruster, we're at 2923, drop that in, and we drop to 2846. Less than a minute. One constructor, where after dropping both of those in, we're at 2808. One constructor takes us to 2541. So yeah, the large constructors are definitely the best way to go. However, one thing that was pointed out to me by Phantom here, if you do have a bunch of components, I would say go ahead and drop those in after you drop in the full items. Like you wait until, basically, and essentially, I probably shouldn't have dropped the cobalt and titanium in there, because what if we made something that has cobalt and titanium? All it's going to do is backlog your factory, and then you're going to have a bunch of stuff in here you can't do anything with. So what you want to do is actually not do anything in there, and then throw in either components or big items, because right now I can't throw in the energy regulators, because if you look in here, energy regulators take cobalt to make, which that would push my cobalt over the amount. So I could have gotten the cobalt just from those, because I think I needed, what, 10 cobalt? Yeah, I needed 10 cobalt. I could have just used 5 of those energy regulators, because each regulator takes 2 cobalt ingots. So I could have saved myself there and reduced the time, because the energy regulator is a complex item. But I'm going to go ahead and drop these other couple of things in here. Now, I'm going to stop dropping these large ones in, these large constructors in, when I meet the requirement on one of these, because it's giving me a bunch of all of it, I believe. Yes, it's giving me a bunch of all of it. I will probably end up hitting the silicon. Actually, no, looks like the iron maybe before anything else, and then I'm just going to have to finish it off with ingots. But we're down to 18 minutes, 20 seconds. We are going to need a ton of carbon substrate. This is almost done. And then to get the carbon substrate, we can actually run up here to this graphite ore deposit and use our drills, because graphite ore deposits, it will give you a little bit of graphite, like this right here, but it will also give you a ton of the carbon substrate, so you don't even have to make it. And we will show you that momentarily. All right, that is done. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to turn that one off. And it's daytime, so I want to actually get
the... one more of those fridges in the output box. If you want to throw that in, I don't know that we're going to need a 4th fridge in this space for any reason.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It gets it out of the box and out of our hair. It's just, you know, it's minuscule, but there nonetheless.
All right, we are down to 15 minutes, 30 seconds. So we're going to go up here, run up here to this graphite ore deposit and mine it out, and try to get all of our carbon substrate we need.
Yep.
So let me go ahead and disconnect from that. And I have very little left on my drill, so you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and make another drill real quick. Probably be the
I'm at about a third.
You want me to make one for you too?
Might as well.
All right, so there's a couple of drills. Oh, and there's apparently 9 biofuel in the input. I have 10 on me.
And I took. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I have 8 on me, so.
Okay. Well, it's in the output box now.
Okay.
Why is it not? Oh, it's not putting it away because this box is occupied. There it goes. Yeah, so this game, it is a continuous headache. 2 people cannot look in the same box at the same time. It drives us absolutely up the wall. Because also what happens is if you're sitting here waiting for something to finish in the constructor and somebody accesses either the input or the output box, it will stop crafting. It will not continue because somebody is messing with that box. And that'll even happen with you. If you are over here in the output box waiting for it to finish, it will never finish because you are touching the box. It will not access it with you touching it. It's really dumb. And I wish they could fix that. All right, there's my secondary drill that I'm taking. Yours is in there. All right. Now, using a hand drill is incredibly inefficient, so we're not going to get nearly as much as we normally would with a miner. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to get the miner actually built.
Yep.
That looked like a slanted rock. I was going to use it for a ramp, and it just said, no, you're just going to stop. I was doing so well when we were exploring the world, and now all of a sudden I'm just like running into everything. Because we're recording.
Naturally.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pick this up. And what I'm going to do, because if you actually... Here, I'll place that down. And you see my volume, 155 out of 600. If I pick this up, it goes to 255 out of 600. So I'm going to hold on to it until it says that I'm full. Then I'm going to place this down and mine up the rest real quick, because if you leave these too long, they turn into a little box, and then eventually they delete themselves. It's very annoying.
Yeah, they decide that you didn't want them after all, and they go away.
Yep. Yeah, the graphite looks a lot like just gravel, like gray gravel.
If you notice in the upper left-hand corner of the screen there, it keeps popping up with what you got out of that piece that you were mining, and you'll see that it's graphite and carbon substrate. Sometimes one, sometimes the other, sometimes both.
Sometimes I feel like the drill's not working because something will sit there forever and not break.
Yeah, it's weird.
I know the roof will not cave in. The only thing that has structural integrity are bases in this game. Like, I'm about half full, and I've got 383 carbon. Luckily, the carbon is pretty light. So, we probably won't get all the carbon we need from this deposit, because the drills we have are pretty inefficient, and but we just kind of wanted some type of boost to it anyway, rather than having to wait for our machines to craft all the carbon substrate.
Plus you get XP for resource harvesting, so that's always nice.
Yep. It's not telling me what XP I'm getting. Let's see here. I'm at 14,212. I break 1. And I go to 14,242. So not much, but it's something. Oh, if you also notice, when you go into your map when you're on a planet, you'll see the number of deposits of each type of ore. This one right here, the graphite, says we have found 2 of 18. So this is one that we're on. The other one's way up here. Now, when you mine it out completely, that'll go down to, we'll know of 1 of 17. So it actually removes the max number off of there. If we can leave it at 10%, I think we can get it to respawn, provided my settings are done properly. But there's in Reforged Eden, there's these locations called surveys. Like over here, we found a iron survey. That will definitely respawn if respawning POIs is on. And that is something that's done by Reforged Eden. There we go, reached level 13. Now, the next vehicle I want to make is going to be an SV. So I've been picking up a few things here and there for that. And the big thing we're going to want is a pentaxid tank and a jump drive. And maybe a light shield. I'm not sure. I'm going to hold off on the shield right now. We might be able to finagle it around to where we don't need the shield. And I've got the medium thrusters and advanced medium thrusters. And it looks like that's all I really need, because I've got the regular guns set up too. Later on, I'll be eventually unlocking everything, but our biggest concern right now is to get to a capital vessel and build that capital vessel in such a way that it can lift a lot of weight, so we can effectively move into the capital vessel and go just about anywhere. But initially, it's going to have to be made out of effectively plastic, because plastic is lighter than steel. And we will just have to not poke a fight with anybody while we run around gathering resources.
Yeah, we'll do a lot of the Brave Sir Robin number.
Better part of valor.
Run away, run away. That's right. Better to live and come back than to think you have to stay and fight everything out.
So I guess you could say the first ship CV we make is going to be more like a freighter than anything else.
Yeah.
And then at some point we're going to probably want to set up a space station. That's going to be our permanent location that we go back to when we need to drop off things. Oh, that mechanical drill is dead.
I am full.
How close am I to being full? Almost. If you drop your bike, you might be able to get a little bit more.
That's what I figured. See what I can do about grabbing a little more.
I'm not worried about leaving the 10% in this one, because once we leave this planet, we're not coming back and nobody else is using it. Which is another reason why we're going to use that hover miner a lot and essentially mine out every resource on this planet and harvest pretty much every building that we can. Which also means we'll probably end up killing all the zirax so that we can take all their buildings and, you know,
Woohoo.
all their stuff.
Plus there's zirax, so screw those guys.
There we go. Completely dug out. I have...
That looks like it.
1,082. What about you?
I have 1154 carbon substrate, 159 graphite, and 25 crushed stone.
Nice. We actually might have enough with what's already in there. So let us head back to base, and we'll catch you all when we get there. All right, we're back here at the base. Let's check on the power real quick. We have 887 battery power, so gotta love gaining that power. Wow, your armor is all screwed up. Oh, there it goes, it finally rendered. All right, 2809, sorry, on the carbon substrate. Now, I'm not gonna just dump the carbon substrate in here, because we need a bunch of it, and we need complicated items. So I'm going to go ahead and make one more, because we're getting pretty close to the max of the iron. I'm going to make one more of these large constructors. And then over here in the decoration thing, you'll notice that there's a bunch of items that use carbon substrate. Now, the problem is a lot of them use wood planks, specifically the furnishings. But, like, the tech equipment doesn't. However, it uses mechanical components, which is iron. Sometimes you can use these to get the carbon substrate you need, which I will be doing, but I will probably end up a little over on the iron. But this uses the least amount of iron out of everything that we could possibly make. Another alternative, and they're complicated items. Another alternative is I could just make a ridiculous number of, where is it? These plastic tubes, which use 2 carbon substrate each. But I also don't know if it's going to lower the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to this guy, and I'm going to tell this thing to make 10 plastic tubes. And I'm going to use that, and apparently it makes more than 1 at a time. So that's awesome. I'm going to see if these plastic tubes will lower the time at all. Yes, a little bit. So that is an option. I could finish off with ingots the copper and silicon once I hit my max on iron, and then just dump a ton of those tubes in there for the carbon substrate. So we'll see how this goes. Alright. Link to this, grab that large constructor, and drop it in. Okay, so now we're close enough to where I don't want to do and make another large constructor, because that's going to push me way over on iron. So I'm just going to grab the iron ingots and finish it off, and then the copper ingots and silicon ingots, finish all those off. Then I will grab those tubes and just start dumping in a ton of the tubes for the carbon substrate. So I'm just going to tell this thing to make 100 of those tubes. And I'm just going to grab some iron and copper, silicon. And there's some electronics that I can use. There's some optical fiber that I can use. There's some mechanical components that I'm going to use first. And some steel plates. High output capacitor. Let's see what the high output capacitor takes to make. This is going to take those advanced electronics, which should be fine, actually. Hang on. Nope, that's going to give me neo and titanium and cobalt, stuff that I don't want in there, so I can't use the high output capacitor either. So I only need effectively very little in the way of iron. Alright, there's any more. Alright, iron's done. Now, I am going to run a little over iron when I start dumping in some of that other stuff, but I'm really not worried about it, because at some point we will probably end up using the factory again, but who knows? Maybe, maybe not. All right, copper. I need. Oh, actually, yeah, that's good. Okay, and then. Oh, got 2 over on the silicon. So I need 34 copper. 34 more copper, I should say. 34. All right, so now we've got everything done and close to the max that it's needed. And we're at 12 minutes and 58 seconds. I'm actually going to go ahead and not put this other stuff in because it might push it way over. But I will go ahead and grab those 100 plastic tubes, and we're going to see where that puts us. 11 minutes, 48 seconds. Okay, so let's go ahead and make... If you do shift, it does 10 each. If you hold control, excuse me, shift click is 10 each. Control click is 100 each. Shift and control is 1,000 each. So I'm going to have this thing make me 1,000. This guy over here is going to make me 500. And once that's done, we'll see where we're at. We'll be right back. All right, we're back briefly. We have 600 of these tubes. There's a bunch more making, but let's see where this 600 gives us, because each tube takes 2 carbon substrate to make, so this is effectively 1,200 carbon substrate. So let's grab half of it. That's 300 tubes and dump it in. Okay, we're at 700. We're at 2,300, so we only need slightly less than 200 more. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this guy and let this one finish, and we should be good. Come on, make that last one. Oh, fine. I'll put the boxes in first. You know what? I'm going to do a different style of box for the other boxes. Because, you know, variety. There we go. Now we have 4 containers here, all of which have 16,000 volume available. And Phantom's out here expanding our little front porch so that I have some place to drop that miner when it's done. Oh, and the time has gone down to 4 minutes and 48 seconds just from the carbon substrate tubes. So, pretty interesting. All right, so, oops. Really? Come on, let's grab, well, we know we need 200 at least. So let's grab 100 of these things and drop that in. That got us down to 3 minutes, 38 seconds, and actually it's over. So, whoops. So we have more tubes for other things. You, sir, can stop what you're doing. Turn off. You turn off. How long do we have on power? 30 hours. So we're good.
Fortunately, lots of things use those plastic tubes, so
yes,
having a few extra is not really a problem.
All right, so I can start production, and this will be ready in 3 minutes, and that's when we will be back, so we can plop this down and start getting to work on some interesting things. So we'll be right back.